Here we are with my old friend, colleague, and Hall of Famer Steve Flink, and we are going to talk about the women's tournament in Miami, where someone a bit unexpected, I would say, Miss Collins, Miss Danielle Collins, and won the tournament. Were you surprised about that, Steve, dear Steve?
No, I was surprised. You know, it's interesting. She announced a while back that this was going to be her last year, and you think that somebody who's sort of on her way out the door and ready to leave the game behind her would not be ready to. Maybe in a strange way, it took some pressure off because she's just feeling like she's going to go to these tournaments for the last time and do the best she can, but is not expecting that much of herself. But she played a terrific final against Rybakina, I thought. She saved 10 out of 11 break points, which was the key because there were so many times she could have lost her serve when she didn't, including when she served out the match at 5-3 in the second set. But 3-all in both sets, she was down break points. She was always having to bail herself out, but her aggressive game really paid off. And Rybakina, I think, was tired, Ubaldo, after a string of long matches, including a third set tiebreak against Vika Azarenka. So maybe that caught up with her. She has a tendency, don't you think, Ubaldo? Just to talk about Rybakina for a second before we get back to Collins, that Rybakina has a tendency to get into too many long three-set matches that she could probably win sooner. She has one of the best serves, if not the best serve in women's tennis. But I think the long matches took something out of her, and then Collins peaked for the final, and it's the biggest win she's ever had. A couple of years ago, Collins lost to Barty in the Australian Open final, which was a great effort. But here, she comes away with the title. The home fans also, Ubaldo, the fans in Miami were a big help to her, to Collins.
Yeah, sure. Maybe also because of her announcement to retire at the end of the year. Yeah. And I don't know if she has decided that and she will keep this idea. I don't know if she said that she wants to stop it, because after you win a match like that, you may start doubting if it's the right step, unless she really wants to become a mother. No, I think
she does. Yeah, absolutely. I think she does want to become a mother, and I think most likely we're going to see some up and down results the rest of the year. I think the only thing that would change her mind, Ubaldo, is if suddenly she started winning a bunch of tournaments or getting to lots of semis and finals and surprising herself with her level and feeling like she needs to play another year. But knowing the kind of player she is, she's a streaky player, very aggressive, but there are times when her game can go off. So I don't think that this is going to suddenly turn her into an unbeatable player who will question her decision. But I think she'll be very gratified that she got this title, to win the biggest title of her career in the States, to do it in Florida. I mean, she couldn't have asked for more. And to finish it off against a player of Rybakina's caliber, great effort.
Great effort. I mean, do you know her a little bit better than I do? Because honestly, I've seen her just on TV, because I wasn't in Australia when she reached the final, and I wasn't in Miami now. And I haven't heard very much her talking. When I see her on court, she seems very, very, I think I would say humble. I mean, because she doesn't show off too much, even if she makes a good win or a good shot. I don't see her getting overexcited. She seems to be like if it's normal in a way. I don't know. You know her better, probably. You've heard more.
Well, she gets. Sorry, Ubaldo. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I think you're right. She's humble, but she's also very determined, and she's got an edge. She has this edge, which I think off the court is not the case. I think very well liked off the court, but on the court, a lot of intensity and sometimes a bit of negativity. She was getting frustrated a few times in that final, and she will let the people in her box and who are cheering her on, like Jimmy Arias, she lets them know that when she's disappointed or feels she got a bad break. But I think she's a little intimidating for her opponents, Ubaldo, because she lets you know how much she wants to win. She's sort of one of those in-your-face competitors. Humble, yes, but very determined.
Okay. Okay, with a great backhand, in a way, reminds me of well, another kind of player like Jimmy Connors, who had a great backhand and not such a great serve or such a great forehand, but a fighter. And she seemed to be fighter also when things go okay, like it happened during this tournament, because she beat Alexandrova and before Garcia, and then before Chistea. She didn't have an easy draw. I mean, since the beginning. Huh?
Yeah, she lost one set early, and then she swept, won all the other matches you talked about in straight sets. She got better and better as the tournament went on. You're right. She's got a great backhand, but I love the way she's always thinking about coming forward. She doesn't let the opponents get settled. She's out to win the point quickly and aggressively, and I feel like that serves her well when she's playing well and her timing is on. She doesn't let the opponent breathe, and I think Rybakina felt that to a degree. She rushes them out of a lot of points with her aggressive style.
Listen, during the tournament, as you, I was surprised that Rybakina was losing some sets here and there. When she lost 6-love, the second set versus Azarenka.
Yeah.
But what surprised me more in a way was Alexandrova, because this girl, I had never noticed that she had beaten all the top 10 players at least once. And while she's not a top player normally, I mean, she's seeded number 14 this time. Sometimes she's 16. Closer to 20 than to 10 in most times of her career. But she beat Swiatek 6-4, 6-2. I mean, how can that happen?
Well, I don't know how it could. I watched it in sort of disbelief. I mean, she played an almost perfect match. I was a little disappointed in Iga's level, but what impressed me as much as that 4-2 win over Swiatek is then to follow up beat Jessica Pegula. Now, Pegula has been having not her best year and she split up with her coach, David Witt, and these are kind of difficult times for her in some ways, but she was playing well. And the match, she'd won the first set and Alexandrova won the second. And then in the third, Pegula came from a breakdown to go up 4-3 on serve. And that's where I thought her experience was going to get her through it. And Alexandrova did a tremendous job to finish off Pegula and win that match in 3 sets. And it seems to me, Ubaldo, that in both against Pegula and Swiatek, that they didn't have much say in winning the point. It was up to Alexandrova. And when she was executing, she was dictating so consistently against them that they were on their heels and they didn't know how to combat it. And that was not true. Collins didn't allow her to do that, you could say, when she beat her. But those 2 wins over Swiatek and Pegula were very impressive. And maybe now, Ubaldo, now she will break out of that range that you described, 14 to 16. I can't see how she's not a consistent top 10 player for a long time from here on in.
Well, we'll see. Pegula had beaten Navarro, who is a good player, I think. Navarro, yes. She's young and she can be a strong competitor in the future. She's number 20 in the world, but she can get better, I think. But Pegula beat her 7-6, 6-3. And so she was not playing badly. Also, Pegula had beaten previously Fernandez, that you remember.
Yeah.
She was a runner-up in the
right, the US Open.
Yeah.
Pegula, those were good wins for Pegula. And I think she was a little disappointed, but I could tell I kind of felt, looking at her expression when she went up to the net to shake hands with Alexandrova, that she just knew in the end, Alexandrova took the match out of her hands. She didn't lose it. Alexandrova won it.
Yeah.
So Pegula's on the right.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, interrupt you.
Pegula's on the right track is all I'm saying, Ubaldo. I'm encouraged that she's going to start playing her best in the next few months.
Okay. Listen, and rather disappointing Coco Gauff. And also, well, Osaka, in a way, we know that we have to wait a bit longer for her to come back. I don't know if she will ever be able to win again a slam like she won four. But I mean, between Gauff and Osaka, of course, I could have expected more a loss by Osaka versus Garcia than Gauff against the same Garcia. What do you think?
Well, Osaka played very well against Svitolina, and then she loses to Garcia. I was a bit surprised. She had a chance in the second set, was up 4-2, and lost her serve twice from there, which was surprising because she lost to Garcia in Australia, then she'd beaten her, now she loses again. She's very close to the Osaka we knew that won those four majors. I feel like it's just a matter of getting a few more matches and a few more tournaments. It's going to turn for her. Coco is another story. Coco has not played her best. She had obviously the great U.S. Open victory last year. That was a landmark moment for her. And then she got to the semis in Australia this year and played well enough against Sabalenka and was leading 6-5, 30 love, and could have won the first set and might have won the whole tournament if she won that set. Yeah. But since then, no, she's had a string of difficult losses, and it happened again here. And I'm a little worried about her. She seems a bit down on herself, Yuval. Now, the good news is she's been in the French Open final a few years ago herself. She's good on clay. She could snap out of this any time.
She's better. She's better than Osaka. No, on clay, she's for sure better than Osaka.
Oh yeah, much better. Oh yeah, totally agree. I don't think Osaka. When I talk about Osaka, I feel like in Osaka's case, she needs to just get as many win matches here and there on the clay. Get to some quarterfinals if possible. Just get the matches in so that then she can come to Wimbledon and try to use her serve effectively there, and especially over the summer on hard courts, really get going. Coco, I feel like she's almost equally comfortable on all the surfaces, and she's played well on clay before. But she needs a confidence. She needs a confidence boost right now because she's not playing her best. She hasn't played her best all season long.
Yeah, and I think we are losing Ons Jabeur. I mean, she's not winning anymore. I think she's. I don't know. It's like if she's declining. I don't know if she has so much responsibility on her shoulders. Everyone talking about her being the best Arabian player, Muslim player, and so on. Maybe too many people around there. I don't know. Could be a factor of distraction, but she's losing to some players that she would not lose normally.
I agree. It's a couple of things there, Yuval. Obviously, we saw her lose 2 Wimbledon finals in a row, a U.S. Open final. Those were all very bruising losses for her because it would have meant so much for her to win. And I don't feel like since Wimbledon last year that physically she's been all right. I don't know exactly what it is. She's not the kind of player or person that would go around making excuses for herself and complaining. But I don't. It just doesn't seem like she's been physically right for a long time now, and I'm worried as well. She doesn't necessarily expect to play her best on clay either, but I know she'd like to make another bid at Wimbledon, where she's had the 2 finals, and give it another go. And yeah, she has not been something is since Wimbledon last year. It's been a long stretch of Jabeur not being anywhere near her best almost all the time. And as you say, one loss after another. Now you get to the point where you feel like anybody in the top 50 on a given day, top 75 might beat her on a given day. And that has to be worrisome for her supporters. It's a shame because she's one of the most popular players, man or woman, in the sport. And I hate to see her losing like this.
Yeah. And now, okay, we approach the clay season, where I wish I would see you sometimes because you are missing most of the clay season all the time. I have invited many times to come to Florence and then cover the Italian Open.
Yeah, but Ubaldo, it would be one of the biggest mistakes I could make professionally. If I were to take you up on that offer, I would be so overshadowed.
Come on, come on.
I would be walking. I would be walking in the.
Don't be
I'd be
silly.
walking in the presence of Italian royalty, and nobody would know who I was, and I would lose myself. It'd be a terrible error.
Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Try to come to Rome one day before. I mean, honestly, it's a pity you haven't been at this tournament. But Bud Collins was in love with the Italian Open. He was saying British invented tennis, but Italians may have humanized it.
Yes, but Ubaldo, Bud Collins, as you know, mid-career, he changed his name. He was no longer Bud Collins. He was Bud Collini.
Yeah, correct. Well, you could be Stefano Flinky. You could be Stefano Flinky. And anyway, try to come. Come on. Well, next week I'll be in Monte Carlo, where I want to see what Sinner will do, of course. Then in the other tournaments, I am curious to see if Iga Swiatek will start winning again as usual. She does on clay. And
Ubaldo, don't you? I think she will. Just to jump in a second, I think she will. I think she doesn't feel too badly about what she did in these two tournaments because she won the first one. Yes, she lost to Alexandrova here in Miami, but she'd won convincingly in Indian Wells, so she's confident. And clay is definitely her best surface, and she's going to be the clear favorite to win her 4th French Open. Yeah. And I feel like this is a great time of the year for her. I think this is where she should have a lot of success. I would expect she'd win 1 or 2 tournaments prior to Roland Garros and then win Roland Garros again.
Yeah. Well, I think so too. I do agree. And would be more a surprise to see you suddenly appearing at the Italian Open, and maybe, but at least I hope you're coming at Roland Garros. Huh?
No, I'll be there in spirit. But are you going to be there?
Well, I hope so too. I'm going to be there. Yes, I don't know yet in which role, but anyway, I will be there. Listen. So anyway, we will talk about Monte Carlo again, so we can comment together what happened on the first big tournament on the clay season. And I want to say again, happy Easter to my old friend, colleague, and Hall of Famer, Steve Flink. Ciao, and thanks, Steve.
Ciao, Ubaldo. Thanks for having me on.